Good evening, good morning, good day, wherever you are. Welcome to this 19th session of the Afghan Association of Ontario program on awareness of racism, discrimination, Islamophobia, and all kinds of hatred. This program is an initiative of the Afghan Association of Ontario in collaboration with and partial funding by the Government of Canada. And the purpose is to make Ontarians aware of Islamophobia, discrimination, and racism, and hopefully eradicate it from this society. In the program, we invite visitors and guests to the program to share their experience or expertise with us. And we just lost our guest today is Loloa Alkasawat. She's an architect and also a community activist. And we are going to wait for her to rejoin so we can start the program. In the meantime, what I would like the viewers to share this program on their social media pages. This is an important program in order to clear this society so that people can live in safety and without any fear of discrimination or racism or any kind of hatred. So our guest had temporarily was knocked out, and she has joined. Welcome, Loloa, to this program. As I mentioned before you joined, I said that Loloa Alkasawat is an architect and a community activist, and today she is our guest. So thank you very much for your time and for your service to the community, for also sharing your experience in this regard. So maybe we can start right away. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about your background?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for having me on your program. My name is Loloa and I'm an internationally trained architect. I am currently licensed in Ontario and I've been working and living in Canada for 17 years now. I'm also a founding member of SPAN, which is the Syrian Professionals and Arab Network. This is a network of engineers and architects who assist each other in licensure and integrating into the workforce.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Now, as a professional architect, as well as a community activist, you deal with people of different walks of life. Professionals and non-professionals. Can you tell me how big of an issue is racism in this society, discrimination, or any kind of hatred? Like, do you talk about it in your interaction with people? Tell me a little bit about it, your experience with these, what I refer to as the triangle of evil.
I haven't really experienced much of racism or hate or discrimination. I can remember way back when we first arrived in Canada 17 years ago, I felt it a little bit more so than these days. Back then it was very, very uncommon to see Arabs or Muslims, and hijab was like, I practically...
Hijab.
Yeah, 17 years ago, it was very rare. So I do remember when I first came, I struggled. I was trying to get a survival job by the time I entered the workforce. And every time I would go to apply for a Tim Hortons, they would look at me, strangely. So I would experience like some comments in subways or buses, in the parking lot, like a rage, like a road rage, honking or yelling at me, and stuff like that. But again, it was rare and more so in the beginning. But over the years, I can't say I experienced it working in my field. I remember a story. I'll tell you a story. I remember I was doing cold calls for interviews, and for small firms. That's what we were told in the employment agency. So I was talking to one of the principals of the firm, and they said, I want to give you this interview just because I want to see what you look like. See what I look like? So I took that as an opportunity, and I went and visited his firm. And he interrogated me, where are you from? What do you do? And all these questions, but he insisted that he can't hire me because I am a newcomer and, I'm different.
Yeah.
So that was about maybe the worst part, but I took it with as an opportunity, so I didn't really let it boggle me down or affect me, and I continued to look for work, and I was successful. And I must say, during my work days in other firms, I've never experienced any interaction or any conflict. It was very diverse, so alhamdulillah.
That's very good. We have worked together. I'm also an architect, so at least we share that professionalism together. We are in the same field. And I too have worked with professionals in the Canadian context, working on projects in Canada and abroad. The professional environment is very, very good. I think that the Canadian government policy that started in the 1970s of multiculturalism, it has played a major role in making people aware of our differences, of the diversity that exists, the cultural mosaic. But I have interviewed for this program people from different walks of life, and some of them, like you, have not experienced any kind of discrimination, or like me also, but some have experienced it. So we reached kind of a conclusion that, it's like a basket, and every basket have some bad apples in it.
Well, I can't say that I haven't experienced it at all. It's very subtle, very rare. And I brush it off because, I don't let it affect me, because if you let it, you start to doubt things. So you're confident and you are assertive, you don't feel that anymore, and people stop, trying to intimidate you, or they become more, as the more that you know them and that you interact with them, then you gain trust, you establish yourself, and fear of the other kind of goes away and normalizes. That's what I find, because again, we're all from different backgrounds, and until they know you, they don't know. They only hear what's in the news and what's being said. So everybody's cautious, and even me, I was cautious of Canadians when I first arrived, because I used to hear a lot about pushing in subways. I used to be, stand away from the tracks. I keep an eye just in case somebody tries to push me or attack me.
Yeah.
The first couple of years, I was scared of them. I'm sure that they were scared of me. Not scared, but, cautious. So I think it's normal to be cautious of the other until you establish that trust and that confidence.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. This issue of other is very important in developing cultural bias, and especially the media. When there are international events happening, the media, in order to promote themselves either ideologically or financially, they will exaggerate certain things. They will take it out of proportion. So the kind of publicity that has been given to Muslims
Yeah, we have to remember the media is always, it's always about Islamist and extremist, and the normal person doesn't know the difference between an Islamist and a Muslim and and a practicing Muslim. So, I mean, in all fairness, it's up to us to educate the other, let's say. Yeah. And always, like even if we do experience any racism or any issue or any circumstance, like we always have to act in our best, like we symbolize Islam. So as a Muslim, I will always respect the other. I will always be able, try not to respond in an aggressive way. And be patient, and I guess that will give the other a chance to think about what they did.
I think that kind of there is in communications there is what is referred to as the law of reciprocity. So if we will respect their ideas, we expect them to respect ours. But if we come from a position of aggressiveness or biasness, then that's what we most probably will experience generally. So when we are in society, if we respect the differences, if we respect the variety, the diversity in this culture, then we will experience that kind of acceptance also. So I think I agree with you in that respect. Now, you are a Muslim woman wearing a hijab, and you're also a professional. Now, in your opinion, how big of a problem this could be in a society like Canada? We talk about it. If I just might mention here, there was Statistics Canada last year. They published some information about racism in Canada, and they said that between 2020 and 2022, there was an average of 68% increase in racist and hate incidents that were reported to the authorities. They also mentioned that there was an increase, 72% increase in Islamophobic incidents, 68% increase in anti-Semitic incidents. And what surprised me more was that there was a 64% increase in incidents against Catholics. I thought Catholics were the mainstream here in Canada, but obviously I had misunderstood that or misread the information. Now, in that respect, for you as a professional architect, as a woman wearing a Muslim hijab, do you feel that you are challenged in any way, that you need to prove something, that you have to be on your guard, or?
Not necessarily on my guard, but to your point, I do have to take that extra step to prove myself. Like it's other architects will have it more easier for them to be established faster, to be promoted faster. For me, I find that usually for women with hijab or of the minority, it takes a little bit more time to establish yourself and to prove yourself. But I can also say that it's also not just for me as in a hijab, but also for women in general.
Yeah.
It takes longer to establish yourself in this community where. And it's not just like a minority woman. I think it's women in general have difficulty establishing themselves, in a man's world. So more so that than hijab, but definitely there is you feel it as a barrier. But I always, I like to be, to go in confident, be assertive, and just, remove that barrier as quickly as possible. And it really does go away quickly once they, get to know me.
I think gender bias also plays a major role in this respect, especially in architecture. I'm not sure if you are familiar, but there is a group called Building Equity in Architecture or Equality in Architecture, the Toronto branch, BEAT. It's called BEAT. They have some programs. I attended some of their programs.
Very interesting.
So they also feel that way, that independent of the ethnic background, there is gender bias in this profession, in construction industry, in the design industry, and that the women have more challenges to prove themselves. So I would agree with you on that respect. And I think steps are taken in that respect to improve the situation. If we go any further now, we mentioned that, you know, in every basket there are some bad apples, and obviously Canadian society, which is much better compared to many other societies in Europe and even the United States, or in other what they call developed countries with Western values. Canada is more diverse, there is more inclusion, and equity and diversity is more advanced than many societies. But the role of community organizations, immigrant community organizations, of religious organizations, what role do you think they can play in order to prepare the youth and the newcomers and or everybody else who are members of these communities, so that if in certain incidents or instances when they face discrimination or racism, racist remarks, Islamophobic remarks, etc., so that they can, you know, take it with a stride, that they can be prepared for. Like you mentioned that sometimes you feel that there are biased remarks, but you don't give it much attention. So how can these community organizations?
Well, again, you have to be very careful. I mean, organizations in the community, in their preparation, like in order to prepare the youth and newcomers, we don't want to also focus too much on it to make it a big issue, because they'll have that fear of, you know, going out and facing the community or the workforce. So we don't want to give it too much of a, you know, like
energy. We don't want to give it energy.
And at the same time, work on preparing community members, just knowing their rights, their responsibilities, where to go, who to speak to if you know, a situation should arise. Training in general, how to express yourself. I mean, you will always have to speak for yourself. Like so training to speak for yourself, regardless if it's about racism or Islamophobia, or about you and how to get what you want and how to, you know, assert yourself, and how to be confident in speaking out in yourself in general. And also, when somebody, like in certain circumstances, tries to belittle them, how to flip that situation around and turn it into their benefit when possible. So not be quick to react, but to grab it as an opportunity to show how well we respect others and how we can try to problem solve or mediate a situation, rather than be, you know, like a reaction and be aggressive in return. And also, I think what they're doing in community programs and outreach, I think it's very important. You know, like the multicultural affairs that they do, and there's a program that I was part of called Diversity Roundtable that was very informative to be part of. So just events that bring people together and show the different backgrounds. I think that's doing a great job also of bringing people closer to us and telling them about us more. So for example, you know, Muhammad Al-Faqih, he always does food drives and he cooks.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's something I think is very, heartfelt. So it's encouraging.
He's a great ambassador for the Muslim community in Canada.
Other mosques, I think they also set a good example. They always donate for food banks, and I think doing a lot of work on the community level to show how much we support each other and other communities. Like, it's not just a close circle of just Islam. It's like we're for the whole Canadian society as a whole.
I think some organizations maybe subconsciously are promoting to ghettoize their immigrant communities. Perhaps one of the things they can do is to create, help the members to be good citizens. And as good citizens, they can be good ambassadors for their communities. Doesn't have to be Muslims. They can be from any community.
You can volunteer in any work and be representable.
In your opinion, the role of the government, by the way, just to mention, last year the Canadian government assigned a special person to tackle issues related to Islamophobia. So now they have a kind of a commissioner who is in charge of dealing with Islamophobic events. And also, just this week, the Peel District School Board, actually for the first time, they issued some kind of a policy paper of how to combat Islamophobia, in particular in the school system, in the educational system. So these are some of the good steps that have been taken. But what do you think that the government can do to influence the circumstances in a more effective way?
Tough question. I don't know really. I think like I said, you mentioned the schools. I've been part of I know that they have this program called Diversity and Equity. I don't think you can ever be prepared for Islamophobia. It's just, it just shocks you. And even if you're prepared, it'll shock you.
Yeah, it will.
Because it comes when you least expect it. Like,
yes.
So I don't have an answer.
Well, that's good, and thank you for being candid and honest in that respect. You mentioned something about diversity. I want to, for the viewers as well as for your information, the Ryerson University, which is now called the Metropolitan University. I remember a few years back when currently the senator, she's a senator, Ratna Umedwar, she was in charge of a program in this university on diversity. And their program was not just to promote diversity, but also the various boards, for non-government organizations or for other entities that have boards of director, that those boards of director represent the diversity of the population. It was a very good program. I took that program at the time and completed it. That kind of program, I think, will also help both sides. In your opinion, if the religious and community organizations, they not only work on their own members, but if they can project to the rest of the society to represent them, to represent their ideas, their values, and to show that how their values align with good citizenship, perhaps that can educate the general population also. What do you think?
I guess, yeah, I see that happening, but I feel like we're trying too hard.
Yeah. So our time is coming to an end. Do you have any last message for, professionals and non-professionals, for women in hijab, for women who don't wear hijab, for other community members, immigrant community members, what they can do on their part?
I just want to say that be confident, be assertive, be respectful regardless of what anyone says or does to you, because you are a symbol of Islam. And Islam teaches us not to disrespect anyone, whatever the reason. Be kind and wise and patient. And those who offend us will see that they were wrong. And those who insist on their position, we can always respond to them with legal ways and not, be reactive and escalate the problem. Can always try to document the incidents, even though they might be challenging, but don't delve on the problem and move on. And I'm sure things will work out. I mean, strong, be confident. That's all I can say.
Well, thank you very much. There
are a lot of nice people. Like it's rare that this happens, and so don't always be fearful that this is going to happen. Be like, it's not always the case.
You mentioned quite a few items, and I would like to mention them again, a few of them that stuck in my memory, so that the viewers now and the viewers who will be looking at the replay can benefit from it. So all the things that you mentioned can be summarized that be a good ambassador of your community. That's the best way. And to be a good ambassador, you need to show self-confidence. You need to be respectful to other people's values. You need to respect the diversity of this country. Don't be a vigilante, but document whatever you hear. There are channels, legal channels, through which issues can be tackled. So those are important things, and thank you for your time and for your experience, sharing it with us. And we will end our program now, and I will ask the viewers to please share this on your social media so that more and more people can benefit from it. Especially this in this program, we have a professional and we have a female, Muslim female with a hijab, and her experience, I think, will benefit a lot of other people in the Muslim community, both men and women.
Thank you very much for having me and for all the work you're doing.
Thank you. So we are going to end the program, and